Good evening. Ira Epstein, and here we are with your metal market wrap-up. And this wrap-up is for the evening of Thursday, the 1st of May, 2025, 6:30 p.m. Central Time. So, metal markets. I think the gold market fell enough to find its legs. It's going to begin that process. It fell almost $300 from its peak. The market hit the 18-day average. It's starting to find support. Obviously, the stock market today was a stellar market off Meta, Microsoft. After the close, we've already seen that we've had Apple come out, and I'd call the numbers okay. I wouldn't call them stellar, just okay. The market's been a little bit of everywhere. Amazon, the same thing. They came out today. And what we're looking at is a market that's down on them, but not down and out. And I think that's the best way to phrase it. On the energy market tonight, most of the energies are trying to slip back a little bit. Bonds and notes getting a bid. Now, tomorrow's a big day because you're going to get the jobs report. But what I want to do is remind you that as we get into this, understand where Liberation Day was, where you're at. So for April, we had all that at the beginning of the month. We knew it was coming, so there's a certain trepidation and so on. The economists, and I normally don't give you these forecasts, but they're looking for 133,000 jobs, about half, rough figures, of the 228 they had the month before. With that, they're expecting the jobless rate at 4.2% unchanged, and average hourly earnings up about 0.3 on the month. And, we've been getting that 0.3 over and over. After that, at 9 o'clock, you'll get the factory orders data. And, today, when I was looking at a bunch of numbers that were coming out, and we were looking at how the factory numbers were looking at on other reports, they were simply not good. They've taken a major hit. So we will see just what that other report is going to show as it comes out. So how do I feel about the market? Well, number one, I have a hard time agreeing with other traders right now that this market is setting the stock market to rally up for new highs. I realize when you go up, everybody gets excited. I'm not in that camp. I'm in the camp in the gold, where if you saw my special report that I did about 6 weeks ago, I had called for the $3,500 zone to be a top. And remember when we got there, then we started hearing 3,800 to 4,000. Got to stay with those counts. It's sort of like the dollar. Overall, I'm still bearish the dollar, but my last special report 2.5 weeks ago, I said you're at a fourth price count in that 9,800 zone. It's a tool that we get at Linn & Associates that's unique to Linn. If you want to learn price counts, you can do it. You've got to go on my website, sign up to get the price count information. And if you deal with one of my brokers, they can send you out some of the information I put together for it. But you're only going to be able to use our charting software to do it. We don't give you the formulas to do it anywhere else. But that was the zone. But understand what these are. 3,500 in gold doesn't mean it's the top. Eventually, it's going to be taken out just because inflation is going to do that over time. The question was on that leg. Well, the same thing in the dollar. Now, in the dollar, what we want to look at is could these other markets have legs and offset that? I think tomorrow's jobs report might give us an idea of that. But here's what I expect. I expect each report for the next several months minimum. That's not two. Several's more than two. To show problems until we get to the point where some of these trade deals get known and done. I think you'd agree with me. We had heard just at the beginning of the week, we're very close. Lutnick came out and said, just waiting for another country's prime minister to give him the okay. Well, now it's 5 days later. What's the hangup? Got what I'm saying? So you can speculate all you want, but you don't have the deal. You don't know what the deal is. You don't know if it's a memorandum of understanding. What is it? We don't know. As you take a look at the gold, you had a spike last week and you followed through. So the logical thing is to say that you've made a trade top of sorts. The second part is the market had buckled under the other day, and that was today, by the way, and now you're at right here for the Friday trade. So you're getting a bounce. Look at the lower highs, lower lows. Where did the market go? It went to the 18-day average, and I'm going to back up here for a minute. That's the first hit of it. You close down, and now tonight you're coming up, and it wouldn't surprise me if you want to get back and play at that number. While the trend is down, trying to go short at 32.71 and putting a stop, the nearest stop that makes sense is 33.59.30, right over that. That's too much money to risk. Downside, if the market keeps falling apart, wherever the Bollinger Band comes in. Right now it's at 30.58. So that would be about a 15% break from the high. Could happen. I'm not expecting it just yet. Some of the other things that are happening for gold. We're going to be wondering on gold, what's OPEC going to do next week? They have their meeting coming up, and the U.S. has just hit Iran with another wave of sanctions. Basically, they have said, if you do business buying Iran's petrochemicals or oil, you will go on our list with the U.S. You cannot deal with the United States or U.S. companies. Now, we've had that on China, all kinds of this, and they keep doing it. What the Trump administration hasn't done, if they could do it if they want to create a real tidal wave of a problem with China, is put their banks on that list and say you can't use the SWIFT system and other systems. That would create real teeth to it. I'm not saying that's going to happen, but that's where you're at right now. So Trump is, again, squeezing, and there is no meeting going to happen this week between the U.S. and Iran. If Iran wants to keep without guidelines and fence posts for uranium and just keep enriching, there's no chance the United States will go down that road with them. When we come over here, you can see the resistance, as we talked about. You come to the next chart, and by the way, let me get back here. You're oversold. That was what I forgot to say. You're already down on this break into an oversold territory. So to get down there, you'd probably have to get into an embedded stage or some other piece of information happen that scares people. I heard today analysts talking in the gold, well, the reason to buy it is central banks are buying it. Yeah, but they don't have to chase it. And that's the first thing. The second thing is, yes, banks always are buying gold because they want to diversify away from the dollar. The problem is there's no other currency to really run to that's big enough to replace the dollar at this point in time. I don't know what the future will hold, but right now that's not it. So the gold market came alive. Why did it come alive? Because we went into new presidency, and we knew that this president had said he was going to change everything about trade. And the market anticipated that. They didn't think it would be good for the dollar. What do you buy in the place? Some people bought currencies, other currencies. That worked to a degree. But the stellar performer of the year has been the gold market. Now it's not so stellar. The event happened. Now you look at the gold-silver ratio, and you're under the 18-day average, which means as the number slips, you need less ounces of silver to get an ounce of gold. So in theory, that means that silver, when it's under that, is stronger than the gold market. And you could see how silver fell, and we talked about this last night, coming into the support of the 100, the 18, and the 200-day average. I am not saying the market is a buy. I am saying this is where the pros are probably covering shorts. And now they have to wait and see, does the market have it in it to add another leg? Or is this the zone where it's going to stop? Same thing happened in copper. We talked about it yesterday before today's action. And what I said to you was, all right, now you're in these supports. Will we carry to the 200-day? Maybe. And the resistance is probably the 18-day average. You tell me what you did. I mean, that's pretty clear to me. That's what you're trying to do. The markets go to the 18-day average, and from there, they give us another setup. That happens, what I see it happen over and over. Even platinum is doing the same identical thing. It failed to build when it got over all the key moving averages and came right back to the 18-day, and they stopped there. You'll see that over and over on charts. Where did the dollar rally? Tell me where the 18-day average is. So as much as I thought that the 9,800 zone is important, this market has not said, I'm bullish in the dollar. It's a bear market rally that now gave you on the close some upside bias. The battleground's going to be right here at this 100 level, basically, and we'll see just what it can do. I think that it'll probably want to make its move off whatever the jobs report says. That's why tomorrow it's going to be so darn important. Remember, I'll cover all this, certainly in the Spider ETF video that I do at 9 in the morning, so you'll be able to get that from me. Early in the morning, I'll be covering in the futures market at 6 in the morning, what's everything looking like everywhere, what are the soft commodities doing, what are we doing in the currency markets, the stock indices, because they'll be roaring and waiting for this action. And when that comes out, it's going to get very, very interesting. So, jobs report day to me is tomorrow. Now we're through with big numbers on earnings. There's still more companies going to report, but most companies are coming out with better than expected earnings, and a lot of them are giving guidance that's so-so. They're saying, hey, we don't quite know what to do with all this. Remember, just go to iraepstein.com. That's iraepstein.com. Look in this. If you want to get this part, go to our research section. Up here, there'll be an icon. It's a circle with an eye in it. Give it a click. It'll take you to the bottom of the page that you're watching. Everything about it will be right there. Just give it a click, take you right to the page. I'm Ira. Have yourself a good evening. I'll see you in the other videos tonight. And of course, first thing in the morning when we do the morning video. And at that point, I'll review the jobs data. It will have been out. Take care.